Right, great name. So can you see my board and can you hear me? Give me a feedback. Well, I couldn't hear you or I couldn't see a text from you. පාට පුළුවන් නම් පොඩ්ඩක් message ටිකක් හරි text එකක් හරි දාන්න. You can see me or hear me. Right. So, Nusha, tell me what are the subject combinations that you have chosen for your A-levels? What are your subject combinations? First, we'll go with the introduction, right? What are your subject combination? Tell me first. You are doing business studies, and then is it accounting econ or is it accounting IT? Which one have you chosen? और select करें ना. And if you are responding or something, I can't hear. What are your subject combination? Right? Well, sometimes right, you might be selected, right? You might have selected accounting, right? You might be selecting accounting, BS, and econ. Or maybe you are selecting, apart from econ, you might be selecting IT, right? Normally, that is the procedure, that is the normal procedure. You are selecting account BS, econ, or account BS, IT. So I don't know what your combination is, but I would like to know which one do you think is easier, right? What is the subject, right? Out of these subjects, what is the subject that is easier for you to go for an A, right? A pass එකක් දාන්න. Lazy on one subject එක. Right? Which one is easier? According to your idea. Do you think accounting is easy to go for an A? Or do you think business studies is easy to go for an A? Do you think econ is easy for you to go for an A? Right? Which one do you think? I would like if you are interacting, right? I would like if you are interacting, then only we can, right? If you are communicating only, we can do the class properly, right? So now, here you can put it in the chat box as well. Chat box එක දාන්න පුළුවන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. Now, when it comes to this, right? When it comes to this subject selections, most of the students, right? Most of the students think business studies is easy, right? Business studies is easy. They are able to score marks for business studies, right? Students think that business studies is easy and you are able to score more marks for business studies. That is the normal way that students think. But statistical, right? Statistically speaking, based on the previous, right? Based on the previous results, right? In 2024, right? I am taking 2024, right? In 2024, 24, the number of students who have passed accounting, right? The number of students who have not passed, who have taken A, right? Who have taken A for accounting, the percentage is 17%, right? Out of total, right? Out of the total students who had for accounting, 17% has taken an A, right? And over A ka karan di. For IT, for econ, for business studies, what was the percentage? What was the percentage for econ, IT, and those things? Now, for econ, right? For econ, if I am not wrong, percent, right? 11% of students, right? 11% of students has got an A, right? 11% of students has got A grade. Okay. Econ at 11% A grade arranged. For IT, only 3% of the students who sat for the exam has taken an A, right? A result in the only 3% has taken an A for IT. And for business studies, only 9% of the students have taken an A, right? A currently only 9%, right? Accounting 17% has taken, BS 9%, Econ 11%, IT 3%. But the overall pass rate, right? But for the overall pass rate, 82% of the students have passed BS, 78% has passed accounts, 76% has passed econ, right? So I can't remember the IT, right? IT now, this is what the subject looks like, right? Even though you think business studies is easy, yes, it is easy, right? Business studies is easy, but going for an A, right? Going for an A is difficult, right? Going for an A is difficult. Subject I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you the reality, right? Students go for account, right? In accounting, students can go for A easily comparatively to BS, right? Compared to BS, accounting students can score an A, right? Compared to business studies, accounting students can score an A, right? Now we'll see why. Why this problem? Before you start any subject, you need to know the understanding. Before you step into the water, you need to know how deep it is. So that's what I'm explaining now. Now, when it comes to A levels, when it comes to A levels, in your business studies, right? In your business studies syllabus, right? I'll take the right. When it comes to the business studies, the problem is students think, right? Students assume that by hearting things, right? Katavadam thermil, right? By hearting stuff will get them money, right? By hearting things will get them money. That is what students think when it comes to business. Yes, it was true in all levels, right? In all level mindset, there are 1 or 2 months ago you set for all levels, right? In all levels, what do? You study the business studies, you go to the exam, but you can't do that in A levels, right? You can't do that in A levels because the questions that comes is always practical, right? For business studies, you will get practical questions, right? You will get practical questions. That means they have to use the theory. Yes, they have to use the theory. Based on the theory, you have to imply this, right? You have to imply this theory into practical scenarios, right? You have to use these theories for practical scenarios. You will get case study type questions, right? Case study type questions, some are right? Not all, right? Not all. you will get case study types of questions. So then for those types of questions, you have to explain, you have to describe, right? You have to criticize, you have to what do you call it? Compare, contrast, you have to do those things. So then the way how you get marks for these questions is completely different than how you got marks in O-levels. O-levels වල ගත්තා වගේ A-levels වලට එහෙම marks ගන්න බෑ. Lazy නෑ. Right? You need to know how to write answers. You need to have a right understanding. But most of the students who write or most of the students who sit for A-levels, they don't know how to write. All they know is to memorize things. Memorize කරලා ගිහිල්ලා ලිව්වට ලකුණු එන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Just memorizing facts will not get you marks. Understood? Understood? කටපාඩම් කරන එක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. You need to know the story. You have to go for the exam and you have to write the story. Memorizing stuff is not going to work. So that is the first thing that I have to tell when it comes to business studies, right? Before we start the lesson, like before we start business studies, that's the thing that I have to tell. Now, first and foremost, right, before I go to the paper structure, right, I need to show you, right, I need to tell something about myself, right? Now that I understand, right, who am I, right? Who is the person who is teaching you, right? What is my experience? Of course, I'm not going to boast myself or anything, right? I'm not going to boast myself or anything. I'm just giving you some basic information. Who am I? Where am I from? What are my qualifications that I have regarding this? And what is my experience in teaching for you? Now, you might know my name, right? And registered, right? When you get registered, you might know my name. My name is Zaeem, right? My name is Zaeem Sahrudeen. Now, I was teaching since, right? I'm teaching for A-levels and O-levels since 2000, right? Since 2021. So most of the time I was doing physical class, right? Most of the time I was doing physical classes, and this time, like, I thought, why don't I start an online batch as well, right? Why don't I start an online batch as well? So just thought of starting, and here we are 2028. I started from 21, and now we are at 28, and here I am teaching for you. Okay, so welcome to my first ever A-level online batch, right? A-level 2028, first ever online batch. Now we are here. And so, yeah, Nuzha here. Right. Now, first, I tell you, right? I have to tell you two things. Right? I have to tell you two things. Now, I have to tell you about two things regarding the paper structure and the syllabus. Right? The paper structure and the syllabus. So, I'll share my screen. Right? I'll share my screen and show you what does a business studies A-level paper looks like, right? What does a business study A-level paper look like? So I have the recent paper here, right? I'll share the screen. This is yeah, I'll take the 24. Right? In 25, we don't have the MCQ yet, so I'll take the 24 paper. Now, look at this. Here, in business studies, right? In business studies, you have two papers, right? You have two papers. Okay? The paper one and the paper two, right? Business studies, you have two papers, the paper one and the paper two. Okay. When it comes to paper one, right? When it comes to paper one, this is for 2 hours, right? This paper one is for 2 hours, right? 2 hours. Okay. during these 2 hours, right? During these 2 hours, you are supposed to answer 50 questions, right? You are supposed to answer not more than 50 questions, right? Yeah. Another questions. Right? Then you have the questions, right? You are supposed to answer 50 questions. How does 50 questions arise, right? How do you get 50 questions? The 50 questions are like this, right? And you get how many? 30 MCQs, right? You will get 30 MCQ questions, right? You'll get 30 MCQ questions, and after 30 MCQ, you will get 10, right? You'll get 10 fill in the blanks questions, right? 10 fill in the blanks questions. एक तीना subquestion A, subquestion B की देगा तीना, and then you will have 10 short answer, right? Then you have 10 short answer questions as well. 30 MCQs, 10 fill in the blanks, and 10 short answer questions. So that is the paper structure for part 1. For this, you will get 100 marks, right? For this, you will get 100 marks. Right? For this, you will get 100 marks. Now, what is the number? Okay. Making match, right? You can play a good match using this 100 marks, right? So you have to work hard on this. And then the paper 2, right? And then you get the paper 2. Right? And then you get the paper 2. For paper 2, what do you get? You will get 8 questions. Right? You will get 8 questions in paper 2. Here you have the paper 2. Right? Here, this is what the paper 2 looks like. Right? This is what the paper 2 looks like. So part 1, part 1, part 2. This is what paper 2 looks like. Right? You have 8 questions. There will be part 1 and part 2 in paper 2 as well. Right? There will be part 1 and part 2 in paper 2 as well. In part 1, you have 4 questions. In part 2, you have 4 questions. What you have to do is, you have to answer based like at least 2 from this, at least 2 from this, and 1 from either one of this, right? And 1 from either one of this. So totally, you should answer 5 questions. Totally, you should answer 5 questions, right? So either you have to write in part 1, you have to do 2. Part 2, you have 4, you have to do 2. And then from either one, you have to do an additional 1. So totally, in total, you are supposed to do 5 questions. Right? You are supposed to do 5 questions. And then for these 5 questions, you get another 100 marks. So here you have 100, right? Here you have 100, here you have 100. Total is 200. And this 200 will be taken into 100 percentage. And based on that only, you are going to get marks for your A levels. Right? Based on that only, you are going to get marks for your A level. Right? Okay. So that is the basic, right? That is the basic paper structure, right? That is the basic paper structure. Paper, you have paper 1, paper 2. In paper 1, 50 questions comprising of 30 MCQs, 10 fill in the blanks, and 10 short answer questions. In paper 2, you have 8 questions. There you have part 1 and 2. In part 1, you have 4 questions. In part 2, 4 questions. All are 8 questions then. Out of 8, you have to choose 5 questions. That is what the paper structure looks like. Right? Okay. So that's about the paper as well. And then we'll move on to the syllabus. Right? Then we'll move on to the syllabus. What does the syllabus look like? Right? What does the syllabus look like? Now, yeah, check this. Okay. Right. Now, when it comes to business studies, right? When it comes to business studies, in your syllabus, what you have is you have grade 10 and 12, sorry, grade 12 and 13, right? Grade 12 and 13. Now, when it comes to BS, grade 12 and grade 13, right? You have grade 12 and 13. In grade 12, you have 11 lessons. In grade 12, you have 11 lessons. And in grade 13, you have 7 lessons. In grade 12, you have 11 lessons, and in grade 13, you have 7 lessons. Now, the easiest ones, right? The easiest ones are the grade 12 lessons. The easiest ones are the grade 12 lessons. And a little bit different, right? The grade 13 ones are a little bit different. Lokota marunaya. What patanga na lokota marunaya. Patta lazy, right? Everything is patta lazy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay? But the thing is, you have to study. The thing is, you have to study. If you don't study, if you don't keep the track, right? If you don't keep in track with the lessons, you will lose. Okay? So, since this day, right? Since the day one, you keep the track with your lessons, then you are safe. Now, what lessons do we have, right? What lessons do we have, or what are we going to learn, right? What chapters are we going to learn in business studies? Business studies, chapters what are chapters that we are going to learn? So we'll see about that as well, right? We'll see about that as well. Now, when it comes to grade 12, right? When it comes to grade 12, first lesson, right? So I did send you the tube, right? I did send you the PDF, right? So this is the tube. Now, once you get registered for the class, right? Now you have enrolled your name and all, yes, you have done it. Once you make payments for the class, right? Monthly payment take the class, you will get your tube delivered to your doorstep, right? Automatic tube take. Along with this, you will get the Unit 1 exam, right? Unit 1 exam when you make a tube take you want to humble, right? So for that, you have to make the class payment. Then you will you have to send me the address and all. I'll collect those details and then I'll send you the tubes. Okay. So, but before that, we'll just understand this, right? When it comes to grade 12, the first lesson is background of a business, right? First, you have to understand what is the background of business. That is the first unit. And number two, right? The second unit will be CSR, or as we call it as corporate social responsibility, right? The second lesson is corporate social responsibility. And number three is government and business, right? Now this is the case. Mom, I use the names, right? The names that I use here is somewhat different from what you have in your PG. Yeah? Teachers guide indicate a name use. I'm using a little bit different name, right? Because of the simplification, right? For the simplification of the extra, I'm using this name. Okay. 4, grade 4, right? That will be business organization. business organization. Unit 5 will be entrepreneurship. Unit 6 is small business, small and medium scale enterprises, small and medium scale businesses. That is unit 6. Unit 7 is money, right? Money and finance. And unit 8 is insurance. And unit 8 is insurance. Unit 9 is transportation. Sorry, not transportation, communication. Unit 10 will be transportation. And unit 11 will be trade. Okay. Right? Grade 12 lessons right? Background of business, CSR, government and business organizations, entrepreneurship, SME, money and finance, insurance, communication, transport and trade. Those are the lessons that you have when it comes to your grade 12. Clear? So far so good, right? So far so good. Okay. Danada shape ne, right? Danada wedi danagatta matine, right? Danada okay, nam tika danagatta me, right? Danada okay, names tika danagatta me, right? You are good to, you are good with that. And when it comes to grade 30, right? When it comes to grade 30, your lesson number 12 is management. And now you are entering into a serious position. 13 will be operations management. 14 will be marketing. Marketing management. 15 will be, right? 15 will be financial management. 16 will be HR management. 17 will be business plan. And 18 will be information system. A kind of an IT related subject. Okay. So these are the, right? These are the what? Lessons or chapters that you are going to learn in your business studies syllabus. Right? These are the chapters that you are going to learn in your business studies syllabus. Now, the thing is, when it comes to business studies, all these lessons, right? All these lessons are interrelated when it comes to your paper, right? Paper questions are about may connect right? They will ask you questions by connecting all the dots, right? They will connect all the dots when they are asked questions. So, එක lesson එකක් මග ඇරුණොත් ටික කරගන්න බැරි වෙන්න chance එකක් තියෙනවා, right? පුළුවන් බැරි නෑ, right? You are capable, right? You are capable of doing it, no problem. But it is always good to have the full lessons, right? You have to have the full idea. If you miss one or two lessons, it will be difficult. You have to make sure that you get the full idea and you have to stay for all the 18 lessons to go for a highest possible marks in your A-level paper. Then in that one like then in that one if you are going for an A, if you are targeting for university, the final objective you do A-levels because you are targeting for your university entrance. Okay. The other results are right. Today when results came, I had a student last year, right? So she was doing A-levels within 1 year time period. I'm individual we had a time frame, right? We had a time frame of something like 10 months, right? I did an individual for her. We had a time frame of 10 months. We did somewhere around 8 classes per month, right? Right? We did somewhere around 8 classes per month. Now, the news is she got an A, right? Not just an A, she got 3 A's for all the 3 subjects. And she is having the island rank of 274 as well. Right? She was having the island rank of 274. She is having 3 A's, and her plan is now to go Colombo campus, right? She wants to go to the Colombo campus for the management field, I guess, right? Management world area. So the thing is now, if you had that goal from the beginning, right? Since the day one she was telling me, right? Since the day one she was telling me, so I want to go to Colombo campus, right? I want to enter into Colombo campus. So I want to work hard. She did, and now she has succeeded, right? So I'm thinking that she will get selected. She will get selected to the campus as well, right? Take a look, right? But apart from that, the thing is you have to have the determination of going for a campus, right? And have the determination of going and entering campus from the day one onwards. Ehema natul. All levels all levels finished. I don't know what to do. Right? I don't know what to do. Everyone is doing A levels, so I also started. Ehema the Batangal. Anusma. Like, so did you start because of the herd? Right? Is it for the herd mentality? Huh? Is it due to the herd mentality? Oh, you thought of doing. You thought of no. I wanted, right? I want to do A levels, right? You thought of okay, I want to do A levels. Oh, you thought of no, everyone is doing, so I also want to do. And then the Patanga, right? So there's another person, Samsung SM. Can I know your name? Who is this? Right, Kaushalya. Okay. So Kaushalya, so you got time to join, huh? Then here, rather than this. Avla plan get okay. So what I was doing is I was explaining what you call the syllabus, and I was explaining syllabus, and you like this time. I'm a right. Right. When the Nikano Harangin and then okay. So I was explaining about right? Levels have a plan from the day one onwards, right? Have a plan from day one onwards, and then start to do. So with that, right? With that introduction and all, right? With that introduction and all, we'll now go for the first lesson. Right? We'll now start the first lesson. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Now our first lesson is right. Our first lesson is all the PDF right. I have already sent you the PDF of this particular lesson, right? PDF with Dharma. Don't worry. Once you make the payment, you will get the hard copy of this plus the exam paper. Right? And then we make a hard copy. So after we finish the first lesson, we can try out the paper as well. Try करला आणि पत्र माटा WhatsApp करला एवढं मग check करला और feedback का दे. Okay. So yes, unique one. Background of business and its environment. right? Background of business and its environment. So this is our first lesson that we are going to learn about. Right. Now here you have come, right? You have started to study business studies. You have started to study business studies. Now, when it comes to business studies, first you need to know what a business is. Right? You need to know what a business is. Next, huh? Business without understanding what this is, how can you do business then? How can you study business studies? Alright. Now, what was the O-level definition, right? What was the O-level definition for business studies? So what is business? In O-levels, we said a business is any activity which fulfills needs and wants of consumers. Right? Business is a activity which fulfills needs and wants of consumers. On the whole, O-level, right? In O-levels, that was the definition. You write it, yes, full marks, and you get the full marks. But when it comes to A-levels, it is not the case, right? But when it comes to A-levels, it is not the case because you have to write certain keywords, right? You have to write some keywords for a definition. For the definitions, and you are differ, right? When you are writing, right? When you are writing definitions, you must have certain keywords, right? You must have certain keywords. Without keywords, you are not going to get marks as well, right? Without keywords, you are not going to get marks as well. So, what are the keywords? We'll see, right? A business is an economic activity. Right? Business is an economic activity. What is an economic activity? Right? Economic activity phenomena. What you do? Right? Business is an economic activity, yes. But what does businesses do? Businesses are engaged in some activities, right? Businesses are engaged in some activities. That is, a business is engaged in production. Okay? Business is engaged in production. We'll say you go for a juice bar, right? You are waiting for a juice bar. Juice bar, the person is producing juice and giving it to you. You go to Bingchun, right? You go to Bingchun, they prepare the iced tea and they give it to you. Okay? You go to Pizza Hut, they prepare pizza and give it to you. What do? They are engaged in production. They are engaged in production. And then, on the other hand, there are businesses which are engaged in delivery, right? Businesses are engaged in delivery. And then they are engaged in exchange as well. Basically, what an economic activity means is all the activities, right? It means all the activities that are conducted since the producer, from the producer to the consumer, right? Until the goods, right? Until the goods are started, right? The goods are started from production, right? When the good is produced, it is delivered and it is exchanged to the consumer, right? A good is produced, distributed, and delivered to the consumer, right? It is exchanged with the consumer. This entire process is what we call as, and this entire process is what we call as an economic activity, right? This business is producing, exchanging, and delivering it to the final consumer to satisfy his needs and wants. Once again, I'm coming once again. A business is an economic activity. They produce, they deliver, they exchange. What? They produce, deliver, they exchange goods and services. Right? They produce, they deliver, they exchange goods and services. Why? Why do they do that? Why do they do that? Because they want to satisfy needs and wants. Because they want to satisfy needs and wants of consumers. Right? A business is an economic activity which satisfies the needs and wants of consumers by providing goods and services. One more thing, with or without a profit motive, right? With or without profits, right? A business is an economic activity which satisfies, right, or which provides goods and services. An economic activity which provides goods and services to satisfy needs and wants of consumers with or without a profit motive. This process, right? This is what you call as a business, right? This is what you call as a business, right? This is what you call as a business. Is it clear? For example, let's say there is a right. Let's say there is a business now, right? Let's say this is a restaurant, right? A restaurant is producing food, right? They are producing food, right? And they are offering it to the consumer, right? They are offering it to the consumer. Why? To satisfy his hunger, right? To satisfy his hunger or the need of food. Okay, a need of food. And for that, the consumer is paying money, right? For that, the consumer is paying money. That means the restaurant is providing goods to satisfy the needs and wants of consumers for a profit. Open and ending, right? That is what happens, right? That is what happens, right? In a business, simple as that. Business එකක් මොනහරි food එකක් service එකක් provide කරනවා for the consumer satisfaction, and in return they are making some profits. But on the other hand, there are businesses, right? There are businesses which are doing business without profit motive as well, right? Without a profit motive as well, there are some businesses which provides goods and services, right? First, we'll write the definition first, right? First, we'll write the definition, right? We'll have a definition clear. After the definition, right? After we complete the definition, then we'll move forward. Then I'll share my screen once again. Right, I'll share my screen once again. There we will copy down this note, right? Then right? For the moment, copy down this or take a screenshot, right? Copy down this or take a screenshot in your whatever your book, right? Exercise book exercise book when you get the tunes, you can copy down them here. A business is an economic activity which produces, delivers, and exchanges goods and services to satisfy the needs and wants of consumers with or without a profit motive. Right, so this is the definition, right? I think you can see it, right? I don't want to pay enough. So this is what you have to write down there. A business is an economic activity which produces, delivers, and exchanges goods and services to satisfy the needs and wants of consumers with or without a profit motive. So that is the basic, right? That is the basic understanding of what business is. Now, make this keyword goods and service, needs and wants, with or without profits, economic activity. If you don't include these keywords, your definition is not complete. Right? If you are not including these keywords, your definition is not complete. Okay. So make sure, right? So make sure that you include all these keywords when it comes to your definition. Keywords naturally and EPA. Right. Okay. So then, with that, we will move on to the next part. Right? With that, we will move on to the next part. That is the aims. Right? What are not aims? The functions. The main functions. Functions of business. Right? What are the functions of the business? Every business, right? Every business that you see, right? Every business that you see has two main functions, right? Whatever the business it could be, there are always two main functions that are there. The first function, right? The first function is to satisfy right? The first function is to satisfy the consumer needs and wants. Always this is the base, right? When it comes to businesses, the base or the foundation, right? For every business, right? For every business, the base or as the foundation, right? The base or the foundation of a business is always the consumer's needs and wants. The consumer and consumers' needs and wants are the base. That is the foundation. Based on that only, this is made. Right? Based on that only, a business is built. Now, even here, you have a need, right? Even here, you have a need. What is your need? Your need is education. Your need is studying business studies. So, since you have a need, I am offering you, right? I am offering you the service of education. And then we have created business now. We have created business. We are creating what? Right? There is a need, and business is satisfying that need of the consumer. That is the first one. Number two, the second, right? The second function, right? The second function of a business is to add value, right? Add value to resource. Right? The second function is to add value to the resources, or else value addition, right? Value addition of resources. Okay. What do you mean by value addition, right? What do you mean by value addition? Now, what's in it, right? A new word, right? A new word for your jargons, right? For your vocabulary, and for your vocabulary, a new word, value addition. When you're doing business studies, when you're doing business, you need to know this. This is very important. Right? This word is very important. Value addition. Like, what does it say? This is the process of increasing the value of resources by changing their nature during the production of goods and services. Right? The process of increasing the value of resources by changing their nature during the production of goods and services. What we do is we are changing, right? We are changing the nature of the good when we are producing. I'll tell you a perfect example. Now, after O levels, most of the girls, what do they do? Is they start cake business, right? Most of the girls, not everyone, most of the girls, what do? They start cake business. I don't know if Rusha also decided to start a cake business or mehendi business or something, right? So I'm just assuming that you are doing one, right? I'll just assume. Now, to make cake, what do you need? Anusa, what do you need to make cake? Huh? You need flour, right? Yes, you need flour. You need butter. And then you need eggs. I'm not good in cooking, right? I don't know how to cook food. I don't know how to do these things. I'm assuming that you need flour, you need butter, and you need eggs. Okay. Now we'll say the cost of flour, right? The cost of flour is 400 rupees. Cost of butter is 200, and the cost of butter that you use is 200. Cost of eggs is 200, right? For flour, butter, and eggs, this is the cost that you have to incur. What is the total now? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have spent rupees 800, right? We have spent rupees 800 to purchase this raw material. Right? To purchase raw materials, you have spent somewhere around 800 rupees. And you have spent 800 rupees. Okay. Now what you do? You mix these, right? You mix these resources, right? You mix these resources and you make the batter. Right? You mix these resources and you make the batter. On a bit color, you make the batter. Now, since you have put effort, right? Since you have put your effort, your physical effort to make this batter, we'll say the value of this batter is now rupees 1000, right? Since you have put your effort and all, the value of this batter is rupees 1000. And what you do? You put it in the oven, microwave, okay, whatever, and you put it in the oven, and you put it in the oven, and you prepare the cake. And then you have the cake. This cake, right? This cake is just a butter cake. Right? This is just a butter cake, right? Butter cake normally these days, 1 kilo, it costs somewhere around 1300, right? The value of this butter cake is now 1300. And the value of this butter cake is now somewhere around 1300. I don't know, right? Alright, but then answer right? Medium, right? Medium bolana, take out right? 1300. Now we'll say, what can we do? What are the changes that we can do to make this interesting? Right? This cake, what are the updates? Right? Answer. Right? Give me an answer. I would like. I'm eager. I'm waiting to get an answer from your side. Right? I was asking many questions here and there. I didn't get any answers. Can you tell me one? Can you tell me one thing? What can we do to increase the value of this butter cake? The butter cake की value को कमेंट करा, right? To increase the value of this butter cake, what can we do? Give me one more thing, like one thing. By icing the cake, of course, on nikam revising karan, right? Now you are not nikam revising karan, right? Now these days there are some trends, right? There are some trends here and there. What you do? You take Oreo, you take Kit Kat, right? You take this dark chocolates and you pour, right? And you pour over this. Right? Now there you have this one. It is the tray, not a hat. Right? It is a tray, not a hat. Now, this cake, what you do? You pour the chocolate, right? Like dark chocolate, pour karna, and then you use some what do you call Kit Kat, right? Kit Kat down. You place some strawberries, right? Strawberries, some cashews here and there, right? Cashew nuts here and there. You put all these ingredients. Now what? It becomes a cake, right? It becomes a special type of a cake, right? It becomes a special type of cake. You do some icing works as well. Like what they put icing right? You do some icing decorations. I don't know. I'm not into this cake this one or not. Right? I'm just based on what I have heard and seen, right? Based on what I have eaten, right? I'm just giving you answers, right? I'm just giving you explanations. Now, this cake, a cake with chocolates, a cake with cashews, a cake with Oreo, Kit Kat, and those everything. Now we have made a superb cake, right? What would be the price now? At what price are we going to sell this? For me, wait, like right? I made these everything. I'm going to sell these at 5,000 rupees. At least if I don't get 5,000, I'm not going to sell. But you need at least this much of money, 5,000. What happened now? What happened? You might be thinking this is too pricey, but can't tell. This is my special cake, right? Now, the flour, the butter, the eggs, the raw materials, right? The raw materials started at 800 rupees, right? The raw materials started at 800. But step by step, what we did was we added value to this, right? We added value to these resources and we came and we ended up at 5,000, right? We ended up at 5,000. Huh? This is what we call value addition of resources. This is what we call value addition of resources. We are increasing the value step by step. And we are increasing the value step by step. Clear? Then raw materials. We are processing the raw materials and we are coming up with a finished good. This finished good is your final output. And this finished good is what you are going to offer to the market. This is what you are going to offer to the market. And this process is what we call value addition. Almost every business, like almost every business is doing this. Like almost every business is doing this. Simple as that. Okay. So what are the two main aims or two main functions? Not aims, functions. Two main functions are to satisfy the needs and wants and to satisfy, sorry, to add value to the resource. Satisfying needs and wants and to add value to resources are the two main functions of the business, right? Those are the two main functions of the business. Okay, right. Is it clear so far? Right? Is it clear so far? Can understand up to value addition? Yes, good. Okay, perfect. Right. Then with that, right, it's a 40. Okay. Next, what we are going to look into is we are going to understand some terminologies, right? We are going to understand some terms. Very simple, right? You might have heard this. The first term is what is a profit? We do business, like we do business to earn profit. In the beginning, we said economic activity which provides goods and services with or without a profit. What is the profit? Right? What is a profit? Right? What is a profit? Profiting is kind of a reward. Right? Profit is kind of a reward. Reward for what? A reward that is given for you for taking risk. Right? A reward that you get for taking risk. Profit is a reward that you get in order to you for taking risk. Right? Or risking of current is right. Since you are taking risks, right? Since you are taking risks, profiting is a reward that you get. Right? Okay. Profit is a reward that you get for taking risk. Then what is risk? Right? Risk का क्या term? So if we have to, like, we have to understand all these things. Risk is something called, right? Risk is some kind of uncertainty, right? Risk is some kind of uncertainty, right? Risk is some kind of a uncertainty and unsure nature, right? An unsure nature. कोई विलान केलवेन दन, right? कोई विलान केलवेन दन है, केलवेन का मुल्वा. We don't know when we will get the loss. We don't know when there will be an unsure, right? That when there can something bad happen. We don't. a cake in the you make the cake and I take it out of the tray and down. It falls down. Risk. Right? I put icing and all, right? I'm going to put it in the package and the package turns upside down. Risk, right? There will be a financial loss. The reward that you get, right? The reward that you get for bearing the risk is what you call the profit. Simple as that. Understood? Risk can risk can negative. A risk can profit and this is a reward. Now there's a relationship between this, right? There's a relationship between these two. When the risk, right? When the risk is increased, right? When the risk is high, right? When the risk is high, the profit is also high, right? When the risk is high, the profit will also be high. In non-profitable business, is there risk? Yes, of course. In non-profitable business, also there's a risk. Anyway, right? No matter what you do, in every business there's a risk. Right? In every business there's a risk. That is a rule. There are no business without risk. Even if you are begging in the road, right? Even that's a good business, thousand. Per day you earn lakhs, you earn 100,000 per day. But still, every business has a risk. Only thing, when it comes to non-profit organization, they bear the risk and they go for what social welfare. The reward that they get is the social welfare in non-profit. I'll come to that point, right? So look at this. When the risk of a business is increasing, the profit will also increase, right? When the risk is increasing, profit will increase. Now, for example, we'll take two professions, right? Two jobs. For simple, right? For simplification, we'll take two jobs. One is a surgeon, right? A surgeon, a person who is operating, right? A person who is operating, a doctor, right? We'll take a doctor, right? A doctor or a surgeon, right? And another one is the attendant. Our hospital like wheelchair trolley those people are a surgeon and an attendant. Who is taking the highest risk? The attendant or the surgeon? The surgeon. Surgeon, if just one nerve had misplaced, here, right? Once, right? If one nerve gets misplaced, the person is dead. Surgeon is taking a high risk. So that means his salary is also high, right? His salary is also high because of his high risk. But attendant, that is not the case. When it comes to attendant, the risk is moderately low. The risk is very low, and the reward he is getting is also very low, right? The risk is also low. The reward is also low, right? The risk is also low. The reward is also low. Then that means this is increasing, right? When the risk is increasing, the profit is also increasing. When the risk is decreasing, the profit is also decreasing. Then what is this relationship? In O-level maths, you did this, right? In O-level maths, you did this. When one side increases, the other side increases. When one side decreases, the other side decreases. This is what you call a direct proportional relationship, or in simple terms, this is a positive relationship, right? This is a positive relationship. When one increases, the other one is also increasing. When one decreases, the other one is also decreasing. So, for risk and profit, there is a positive relationship. Okay. So So that is the understanding of this. If you didn't understand or if anything, put the question, I'll answer as soon as possible. And on the other hand, you are asking whether non-profit businesses, right? You ask me whether non-profit businesses is having any risk. Yes, non-profit businesses are a risk, yeah, yes, as I said earlier, non-profit businesses also has a risk. But for them, what is the thing is, when they are bearing this risk, right? When they are bearing this risk, the reward that they get is not profit. Right? It is not profit. It is the social welfare, right? They are doing this, right? They bear this risk. They do this for the social welfare. Right? They do this for the social welfare. Non-profit businesses, they bear risk, they do business, and the reward that they get is social welfare. They are working for the betterment of the people in the society, right? They are working for the betterment of the people, right? They are not working for money. We don't want money. We are not focusing on money. We are focusing on the betterment of the society. And we are working on the betterment of society. The people in the society has to have a better life, right? We already have a better life, but I do this because I want my community, I want my people to have a better life as well. That is the motive of non-profit business. That is what non-profit means. The social welfare. They want the betterment of society. Now I'll give you an example. Right? I'll give an example. Now even I myself, I am in a non-profit organization. I do work in a non-profit organization. This is what you call the Leo Club. Right? You might not have heard. Right? Ahalati Meham. Right? Lions Club. Right? And then Leo Club. ASAC, right? ASAC, Rotaract clubs, right? You might have heard. So I am a person, I am a director of one of this Leo clubs. Up campus, right? In our campus, we have a Leo club. So I am one of the director in here. We did, right? We do projects, right? We do projects which are what? Giving a social benefit, right? We do projects which gives social benefits. I'll give a example. That is in 2024, right? Yeah. In 2024, in January, right? In January 2024, we made a donation, right? We made a donation. Stationery, right? We made a stationery donation. And we made a stationery donation for school students. At Dur. Right? In Nigam, right? In Nigampu, right? In those Pitipanda, right? In the Pitipanda area, right? We have this Dur, right? Dur is called, So what did we do? We offered, right? We offered stationery. We provided stationery items for these students because those people are very poor, right? Those students are very poor. Their parents, they are unable to buy stationery items for these students, right? So those people, small kids, primary kids in it, the materials have then right? They have to give. Now we donated them this, right? So our main course is this, right? Our main course, right? The main course, the main economic activity, right? Our main economic activity is this donation of stationeries. To whom? To school students. By doing this, what we do is we get social welfare. What we attain is social welfare. Now, just tell me, give me an answer. To donate stationery, to these students, do we need or not? Do we need money to donate stationery for these students? Yes, you need money. But we said non-profit is a business where you don't aim for profits. Non-profit is a business where you don't aim for profits. Then how come we make money? How do we get money then? Huh? From where do we get money? To give these donations, we need money. Yes, money is essential. But the problem is, since you are not aiming profits, since you are doing business without aiming profits, from where are we going to get money now? That is from business. We are going to get money from several other sources, right? Right. There are some sources where we can get money from, right? There are some sources where we can get money from. First one, right? The first one is I have given income sources for non-profit organization. The first one is donations. Right? Donations from well-wishers. Right? Donations from well-wishers. That means there are people who have money. Right? There are people who have money, who are willing to help others. As the organization, as the Leo Club, right? As the Leo Club, we go to these well-wishers and we ask them money. So this is the case. We are going to offer some stationery to these students. Can you give us some money? Right? Can you donate us some money? And they will give money. Right? They are going to give money. One source of income. Another one, we are going to charge membership fee. Right? We are going to charge membership. Now, even in Leo Club, right? Even in Leo Club, there's an annual membership fee. You have to pay 500 rupees per year, right? You have to pay 500 rupees per year. So that is your membership income, right? That is your membership income. That you have to do. Membership income का your. So that is another source of income. And then there can be government contribution, right? The government itself, right? Government donation. The government is giving money as well, right? The government is also giving us money. And the last one, other economic activities. What is other economic activity? You do some other extra activities to make money. Now, in your school, right? In your school, you had this science day, commerce day. For those things, you sell this acharu, ice cream and all, right? In your school days, you do sell this thing. Achar sell karna, ice cream sell karna. To what? To collect money, right? You collect money to do something in your class. Science day, commerce day, that is what happening here, but in a very large scale. Now, what did we do was, so we did this in 2024, right? This was done in 2024, January. What we did was, we organized the DJ, the Christmas event, right? Christmas night. Right? Christmas night, and where you play like a famous DJ artist is coming, he's putting some songs and we enjoy it, right? We are selling tickets, right? We sold tickets, 1,500. And we raised somewhere around, right? We raised, right? So those days I was the treasurer, and we raised somewhere around 1 point, right? 1.4 million, right? We raised somewhere around 1.4 million. Okay. Now 1.4 million, right, is our income from the other economic activities. Right? That is the income from other economic activities. This money, right? From this money, we keep something for the club itself. Right? We keep some of the money for the club itself. Why there are expenses and all, right? We keep it for the club itself. And we took, right? We took 700,000. We took somewhere around 700,000 to buy stationaries, right? We took somewhere around 700,000 to buy stationaries, and then we gave those stationaries to these students. Okay? You do other economic activities, you make money. This money is now donated. Right? Out of this, some portion is donated to these students as stationery. That is how we earn money in non-profit organizations, and that is how we do non-profit businesses. Right? We have donation from well-wishers, membership income, government donations, and we engage in other economic activities. We do these carnivals, ice cream stores, canteens, magic shows, cricket tournaments. All these things are done to collect money and it is used for the main economic activity, right? The main course. The other course is event. The main course is donation, and you do it. So that is what happens in this. Clear? Is it clear after now? After non-profit organization clear? How long is the? Yes. Uh, by the way, Nusa, what is your school? I can't remember. Where did you go to school? For O-levels and maybe for A-levels? මේ නිව්ස්ටඩ්ද මේ වැල්ලේ බාලිකාව. Okay. So are you planning on going for A-levels as well, or are you stopping? A-level එක ගෙදර ඉන්නවද නැත්නම් A-level වලට ගෙදර ඉස්කෝලේ යනවද? My recommendation is to go, right? You go school. Don't stop, right? Don't stop going, right? Gathering කියයි don't කියලා. Yeah, right? Going for the school, right? Going school is the best option, right? Because you will not get back that time, you will not get back that right time and the experience that you get in your A-levels. So definitely go, right? So पहले वाली का develop में यार I'm not what do you call tarnishing your school name or anything. I'm just making small innocent jokes. Right. Correct. Give me a second. I'll have some more time. Okay. So now, this name, right? This Valley Baraka, this name, we when I was in right when I was in my school, right? When I was in my school, I had some during my A levels. I had some of my older friends in Newstead. Like, so what we do is we fight. Like, so they say something to our school and we say something to their school. So that's how we got this, right? पहले वाली का है ना, right? So no, it right? What do you call? These innocent jokes, right? Even I have friends from this school and all, right? Everywhere they are doing na, what is important is the experience that you get, right? The experience that you get is the what do you call? No matter where you go, you have to get the experience of a school. Take a master later. Right. Now, uh, for A levels, right? For A levels, I went to St. Peter's, right? Santa Peter. You can joke about it, no problem. Because like this, I went to St. Peter's, Nigambu, the one next to the town pali, right? Town must be so that one. The Kurana one. Yeah, good. Right. So that's way better. So then it indirectly does mean like you are a good person and you are not going to hurt any school. That indirectly does mean I am a bad guy. Right? Okay. So Nusra, we'll move on to the next topic as well. Eh? So the next is regarding okay. The next one is characteristics of a business. Right? What does a business be like? Right? To be a business, what are the characteristics that there should be? What are the characteristics that now it says if it is a business, right? If you are doing a business, right? If you are doing a business, the first characteristic that you should have in your business is a sale or an exchange should take place. Right? A sale or exchange, right? A sale or an exchange should take place. It means all businesses sell or exchange goods and services for a monetary value. For example, cooking food to sell is a business. Cooking food for the family is not. Now, for example, we'll say you cook, right? When you cook, you can consume, or you can sell. When you are consuming, right? Cooking is an economic activity. Right? Cooking is an economic activity where you are producing. You are producing, so cooking is an economic activity. But you can do two things. One is you consume or you sell. If you are consuming it, it is not a business. So if you are consuming it, it is not a business. But if you are selling it, then it becomes a business. So for a business, for economic activity to be a business, it has to be a sale or an exchange. Right? It has to have this characteristic of a sale or an exchange. Or economic activity, right? Economic activity का business का पिंडना, they have to engage in sale or exchange. That is one. Number two, it says there has to be a transaction of a good or a service. You have to offer, right? You have to do transaction using a good or a service, right? You have to, right? You have to do transactions using a good or a service. At least you have to provide a good, or at least you have to give a service. At least, if it is a bookshop, they are selling markets. If it is a hotel, right? If it is a hotel, they are giving a what do you call a service, right? They are giving a pen, right? Bookshop का good service, hotel का service offer. So for a business, they should offer a good or service. Right? They should offer a good or service to be a business. That is number two. And then the next is there has to be continuous transaction. There has to be continuous transactions. Continuous transaction is there, right? Continuous transaction is there. For example, right? For example, we'll say my mobile phone, right? We'll say my mobile phone. Magi mobile phone maker, Mama use Kerala. After 5-6 years after using this, I am selling this in Facebook. I am selling this at Ikman.l, right? Ikman.l के Facebook के द्वारा हम sell कर. I was using my mobile phone. Now I am selling this. Is this a business? Right? Is this a business? We have sold. It is a good, right? A good is sold. Now is it a business? No, right? This is not a business. Why? Because there is no continuous transaction. There is no such thing as continuous transactions. Why? My phone, I sold it, finish. That's all. I'll buy another one and I will use it for a couple of years. I'm not doing business. This is just a transaction. Right? This is just a transaction. Why? This is not a business. Because I am not engaged in continuous transaction. That means I am selling the phone, I am getting money. This money I use once again to buy another phone, and then I sell it. Then I buy another one. Then I sell it. I keep doing this again and again and again and again and again. That is what I call a business. So you need to have continuous transaction in order to call it a business. Right? In order to call it a business, you need to have continuous transaction. And then the next one. You are being motivated by profits, right? Motivated by profits, right? When you do business, right? When you do business, you are motivated. Right. I am buying, right? My cost of this item is 500 rupees. I am selling this at 900 rupees. I have 400 rupees profit. This is good. I would like to keep doing this again and again and again. I am getting motivated. Profit is 20,000. Next month, my profit is 25,000. And on the following month, I would like to increase this profit. So that means I am being motivated by the profits, right? As a business, I am motivated by the profits, and that is a characteristic of a business. And then it involves a risk. Yes, I said there has, like, always there is a risk, right? There is always a risk, right? Aduvedi vashe, like aduvedi vashe, ristika tiyenama, there is always a risk. Ayolu. Okay. So when it comes to business, there is always a risk. And then the next one is a business is creating works, right? A business will always create works, right? A business will always create works. Now I can explain this create works by a story, but I would prefer to tell this story when we are discussing needs and wants, right? Needs and wants discuss करने पर हमने creating needs के लेकर explain करना, right? For the moment, just assume the business has, right? The businesses are creating new wants for people, right? Businesses are creating new wants for people. That is the basic idea. And after this, right? And after this, they have to characteristics of a business clear. Do you have any doubts? All good. Okay. So then we'll move on for the next part, that is regarding aims and the contribution of businesses to the economy. Right? We'll move on to the next part, that is aims and contribution to the economy. Okay. So the last part for the day, like last two parts for the day. Now, when it comes to business, like when it comes to business, a business will have some sort of aims. Every business, right? Every business that you do, every business that you see in the market has these aims. These are like general ones, right? These are some general aims that we have. One is the survival, right? Right? We want to be surviving, right? Survival in market. Okay. You start a business today, right? You start a business today. 2 weeks later, another person will start the same type of business. Another person will start the same type of business. What you do? You close the business and go somewhere else. Remember that, right? You can't do that. If you are doing business, you are supposed to survive in the market. One of your aim is to stay in the market for a long run, right? You are trying to stay in the market for a long run. You are fighting the competition, right? You are trying to fight the competition. You fight the competition and stay in the market. That is what we call surviving. Every business in the market is trying to survive. Because of what? Because of heavy competition, right? Making competition is value. When doing business, competition is there. So what you do? You try to survive. That is this. Number two, right? The next point is you try to maximize sales and profit. Right? You try to maximize sales and profit. So maximizing sales and profit, it is two different terms, right? Maximizing sales means, right? Maximizing sales means you are trying to increase the number of units sold. You are trying to increase the number of units sold. That is what you call maximizing sales. So that is one meaning. If you sold 5 items yesterday, today you are trying to sell 7 items. So that is maximizing sales. Maximizing profit means you are trying to minimize the cost. Right? You are trying to minimize the cost and you are trying to increase the revenue. Right? You are trying to increase the revenue and you are trying to minimize the cost. That is what you call profit maximization. Sales maximization means you are trying to increase the number of units that you are selling. So that is also another aim for a business, right? That is also another aim for a business. And then the third one is maximizing market share. You are trying to maximize market share. Maximizing market share, I will tell you like this. Right? We'll assume, right? We'll assume this is Sri Lanka, right? This is Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, we have 100 people, right? We'll assume that in Sri Lanka, we have 100 people. Out of 100, there are 20% Apple users, right? iPhone users. There are 10%, right? 10% Nokia users. There are 50% Samsung users. And then there are other, right? This remaining is other, right? 50, 60, 70, 80, right? This 20% is others, right? Other brands. What does these people want is, what does iPhone, right? Not iPhone. We will say, what does Nokia, right? What does Nokia want is, Nokia wants to increase the market share. That means Nokia wants to increase the percentage of users that you have in the market, right? Nokia wants to increase the percentage, the number of users that are in the market. They want to increase this 10% to 15%. This is what you call maximizing market share. You want to increase the number of customers, number of users that you have. That is what you call maximizing the market share. Clear? Right? That is maximizing market share. And then finally, right, customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction. Right? A business wants to increase the customer satisfaction. Right? Only if the customer is satisfied, he will come on the next day. Right? If the customer is satisfied, he will come again and buy. I want a honest answer. Losha, are you satisfied about this class? Apart from the conflict that we had regarding the school name, are you satisfied about the class? Yes. So that is then customer satisfaction. Okay. So if I am teaching you good, you will come on the next day as well. Okay. Come on. So now that is customer satisfaction, right? Improving, right? Increasing the customer satisfaction. Okay. So then the next one, right? Uh, ensuring employees welfare. Employee welfare. So employee welfare is like this. Assume like this. And I'll just give you a diagram. I'll give you a diagram, then you will understand this. You have an employee, right? We have an employee in an organization. This employee is happy, right? We are working for the employee welfare, right? We are keeping the employee happy, right? When the employee is happy, he makes sure the customer, right? He makes sure the customer is happy. When the employee is happy, the customer is happy. When the customer is happy, he will buy more, right? Sales will increase, right? Our sales will increase. When sales increase, the business, right? The business is happy. When the business is happy, the business owner and he is also happy, right? When the employee is happy, the customer will be happy. When the customer is happy, the sales are increasing. When the sales are increasing, the business is happy. When the business is happy, the owner is also happy. But if the employee is sad, the customer will not be treated properly, so he will be sad. Sales will drop due to that, business will go down, and then because of that, the owner of the business will also now unhappy. So understand, one of the main aim of business is to make sure the employees are happy as well, right? Employee welfare is satisfied as well. We have to look into that as well, right? Okay. I think the aims is also right. The aim is also clear, and regarding the aims are also clear. These things are not much right. Depth right. These are just points that you have to know. Explain that I will clear the I just points that you have to know. And then yeah. After this, right? After this, we'll do the one final part, that is contribution to economy, right? How businesses can contribute to the economy, right? So when you are doing business, right? When you are doing business, a business is always contributing to the GDP of the country, right? A business will be contributing to the gross domestic product of a country, the GDP of the country. Okay. Now, what is GDP and all? You will be learning in the upcoming day, right? On the upcoming day, you will be learning about GDP and all. So basically, right, when businesses provide novel or new goods, when business is providing new goods to the market, customers are capable of satisfying it. That's a good thing, right? When a new product comes to the market, customers are consuming it. Now, customers' living standards will increase. So that's how businesses are contributing to the economy by providing new goods or by providing novel goods and services. When you start a business, what you do is you provide job opportunities. Right? You are a business, right? When you start a business, you will be able to provide job opportunities. Now, since you are in Nigam Group, you see this they call Glamour Gate, right? The Glamour Gate was open. This Tilakma was open. Tilakma, Glamour Gate, ever start karani? when they start doing businesses in Nigambu, the main contribution from those people for the Nigambu is they provided job opportunities, right? They provided many job opportunities, hundreds of job opportunities. Okay, so when you start business, they are now providing job opportunities, and providing job opportunities will contribute for the betterment of the society, betterment of the economy. Okay. And due to a business, right? Due to business, the economy of the country will grow. Right? The economy of the country will grow. Well, we need business, right? Business when they do transactions, right? Business when they do transactions, business when they deal with money, then only the economy will be growing. Economy will grow in a business role. Business තිබ්බම එයාලා මොනවද කරන්නේ? Transactions කරනවා. Due to transactions, finally, the GDP is increasing, the economy is increasing, right? People are getting money, right? And all those things are. And expanding for international trade, engaging in international. Engaging in international. Now, there was a time period where Sri Lanka didn't have dollars, right? We didn't have dollars, we didn't have petrol, we didn't have this and that. Why? Because we don't have dollars. To get dollars for a country, we need to do international trade. So, business can contribute to the economy by engaging in international trade, by exporting goods, by importing goods. You are contributing to the economy. And then by being socially responsible, right? By being socially responsible. Social responsibility of the you have to make sure, right? You have to make sure that you are, right? That you are a responsible person. You are doing businesses responsibly, right? Now, even we'll say tarnishing other, right? Tarnishing other people, other brand names, right? Other businesses, right? And businesses are tarnish karna, and businesses are padahadana, right? Right? So even I did one today, right? I told your school as valuable, right? So that is what we call innocent jokes, right? But so there are what you call businesses, there are business persons who do business in very bad manner, right? They tarnish the other person's business. They dispose waste to the environment in an improper way, right? They sell unethical goods. They charge, right? They overcharge people. Those things are, so those are unethical. So as a business, right? As a business, you have to make sure that you are doing business in a socially responsible way. So that's how you can contribute to the economy, right? That's how you can contribute to the economy. Right. So, did you understand? Any questions? No. Yes or no? Yes, you understand. No questions, right? Thank you. So, no questions means two things. You understood everything perfectly, or you didn't understand anything else. But I hope, right? I believe that you understood everything properly. Any feedbacks from your side? Like, am I too fast or am I too slow? Am I whatever? Any opinions that you would have? Regarding the class, any opinions that you have regarding the class? Like a Hondai, Narakai, fast the, or is it bad of me using Sinhala? Sinhala use Nepal. Like, you understand Sinhala, right? So, if you are from Houston, you might. Okay, it's good. So the thing is, like, I prefer right? I prefer to explain in English plus Sinhala. Right? I prefer to explain in English plus Sinhala because English is kind of native, right? Not native. It's just kind of outside. Sinhala, what Sinhala, what I mean, that is what we understand very well. So I will give you the jargons and all in English. I'll explain in English, and then I'll give some Sinhala explanation as well. So like I can make sure that you get it very proper, right? Okay, fine. Okay, all right. So that's a good idea. Thank you. Hi. That's a good. Now the next steps, right? So the class is done. The next step is now, since right, we are continuing the class, right? Since we are continuing the class, we want to make sure, right? I want you to make sure that with your tunes, right? What you take a right? So like don't wait until next Wednesday, right? Don't wait until next Wednesday. If possible, try to get within the next couple of days. So you will be able to get the tune along with the unit texture. Okay, in my class, what I do is I will be teaching you, right? I will be teaching you one unit. I will be teaching you one unit, and I'm asking you to do the unit exam after we finish the lesson, right? After we finish the lesson, you have to time yourself, right? And you have to do the unit exam. After you do the unit exam, take photos of the answers, make it a PDF, and send it to you. I'll check them and I'll give you the feedback. Right? Mark second and feedback with them. Okay, you have done this good, this is bad. I'll give you the feedback. So that's how it happens. After we finish couple of lessons, right? As soon as we have finished couple of lessons, what I do is I will give you a term test, right? After the first 3 lessons, I'll give you the term test. Okay? So the term test का तो आप कर लो और मटे वाला. आणि हम दोनों सामान्य process के आते हैं. Sometimes, right? Sometimes I will keep the term test in the institute. निगम के institute के मांग term test के लिए ना. Sometimes I might ask you to come. If you are able to come, you can come there, and then physically you can write the exam and hand over the paper to me, or else you can send it online as well. No issue. That's your preference. No problem. All right. Okay. Anything that you have to clarify? No. Anything regarding the class, anything regarding the next steps you have to clarify? We can ask, or else we can wind up for the day. Okay. So I guess so right now at the moment you might not have any questions. You'll be like, let me go. So okay, I'm letting you go, right? Okay. We'll wind up for the day and thank you and God bless. We'll see you on the next day.